Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this new figure unboxing and review we're going to be looking at the Newage Legendary Heroes Cyclops figure. So for those of you unaware, this is a third-party company, it's a legend scale figure, and it is obviously Generation 1 Shockwave. So what we're going to do, we're going to unbox him live in a second, have a look at the entire contents of the packaging. We'll have a detailed look at him in both of his modes to help you decide how you want to display him. So if you've never really heard of these companies, what I'm going to do is show you some comparisons and some display ideas with some other Newage figures, like their take on Megatron and indeed Optimus Prime. We've then got other third-party legend scale figures. We've got a Magic Square Trailbreaker, an Iron Factory take on Mirage. So again, this will give you an idea with other third-party companies. But of course, for those people who don't collect these, let's have a look at how he compares with some Hasbro figures. So we've got Studio Series Core Class, which is of course RC. And then funnily enough, Shockwave seems to be released quite a lot by Hasbro in like a Legends or a Core Class size figure, so we can have a look at a couple of them. For what it's worth, we can have a bit of fun as well and have a look how he compares with the Generation 1 original, which you can see there, he's not even going to fit in screens, but I'll do my best to show you that. Is he going to balance? No, that's how big the original one was, but of course I'll show you that in more detail when we get to it, and of course some more newer figures as well, like some of the Rise of the Beasts, again just to give you an idea of scale. So before we go any further, I need to thank Shozy Store, which is who I brought this from, and as you can see they got him out to me nice, quickly and safely. We're going to have a look at the box as well, because the art is spectacular, and I'm sure you're all aware this is of course one of the very famous covers from the Generation 1 Marvel Comics. So we've got good stock images of him in both modes there, and indeed there's a brilliant one there. There's nothing else on the box apart from, as I say, it's saying 15 plus because this is classed as an adult collectible. But I've never took this out of the box yet, and of course because it's third party, he is allowed to transform into a gun, which is brilliant because that is his alternate mode, and I just love this character. Right, so we've got a stand by the looks of it, we've got a gun, we've got a hand. Oh, it looks like we can take him straight out, so if we can, we're going to go straight into some first impressions. And as I'm unboxing him, I'd just like to remind everybody, if they're not subscribed to this channel, they'd like to hit that subscribe button for me now please, because again it does help me out. And the other thing as well is these first impressions are completely genuine. I've not had this figure out of the packaging just yet, I've only ever seen images on him, so let's get these underway. I love the way they put these little stickers saying QC pass on. First thing that you notice straight away, if you're like me and you only ever collected Hasbro, is the weight of these, and that's because some of these have die-cast parts in. Now at the moment I can't really tell, I'm just trying to get that sticker off, but it does feel so much weightier than, you know, the standard Core Class figure that we've had released. This is the latest one. I'm just going to bring this guy straight in. We'll have a bit of a better look later on, but yeah, the weight difference is quite a lot, to be fair. So beautiful detailed head sculpt there. Is it Arctic? Yeah, of course it is. It looks like it's probably on a mushroom peg because it's going to go up, down, around the side, etc. Look up and down. Lovely bit of translucent blue on there with some inner workings, which is spectacular. Ball and sockets in the shoulders, so that means there's loads of range of motion. We've got a twist just under the shoulder. We've got a bicep flexion. That does or doesn't it spin round? I'm not too sure. I'm not going to attempt to pull this off. I imagine that you could perhaps take the fists out. I'm not too sure. Actually, you must be able to, because there's a hand here. I'll have a proper look at that in a sec. Oh yes, there you go. So of course there's wrist articulation, there is a waist swivel, there's a hip side skirt, the front is open, so you've got full range of motion, kicking back, kicking forward, out to the side, knee bend, ankle tilt and rock. Everything you'd expect from, now when I say this, from a masterpiece figure. Now these are classed and I suppose duped as, not duped, that's the wrong word, deemed to be mini masterpiece figures, and you can tell that straight away by looking at him, seeing the detail on him, and the fact that there's little to no kibble on here. So again, for those of you unaware, never really collected these, they are called mini masterpiece figures for that reason. Just the transformation process, the detail, and indeed, let's be honest, it's a small figure and they do command quite a high price. That's pretty much all I'm going to say on this particular mode. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to come right back, we're going to have a look at him in his alternate mode, and again we can do some other comparisons. I've completely forgot I've got this guy as well, which was another third-party company. This was the, I think, Just Toys World's Smallest Shockwave. So I've got loads of shockwaves to show you compared with this. But let's have a look at him in his alternate mode to start off with. We're going to see how he looks and displays with some other Newage figures, which we've got here. We've got loads of comparisons coming up, to be honest. I've got an Iron Factory Legends as well, which we can see there. We've of course got a Magic Square one as well. I'll take that. Right then, so we're back in his alternate mode. Quick apologies for no transformation process in this video. That is for a couple of reasons. One is to keep the main length of the video down, and two is not to spoil it for anybody who doesn't want it spoiling for themselves. So I will upload a tutorial transformation process video as well. However, as you can see, the alternate mode does look really good. They've pretty much nailed it. They've got Shockwave's alternate mode as it was, and the best thing about it, again, with it being a third-party company, it's allowed to be a gun, and I just love that. That's what I think is so great about these, because obviously they can be the original figures alternate modes, because they don't call themselves, as I say, he's not Shockwave, he is of course Cyclops, but it is of course a brilliant homage to the original. And this is going to be quite difficult, and in fact there's something I need to do in a second with the hose, but I'm just going to quickly, now the feet are out on this just so I can balance it so you can see in the video. Usually obviously on the original one the feet aren't out, but I want to give you an idea, or I suppose a comparison again, of just how good it is. The only thing that's slightly different is you've got the viewfinder, which is quite far up, whereas on the original it's quite low down to the back, but that's, you know, that's nothing really detrimental at all. I just wanted to show you very similar process, arms around the side, very similar details. It just works, it really does. And I will have a look at some of the accessories now that came with this. So of course the hose is really important. We need to attach this here. I'll go through the other accessories for use in robot mode when we go back to it. The first part, as I say, was just the first impressions. This is, there he is with the hose on. Now, to be honest, this stand again is brilliant. We've got the Newage logo there, all these things around here, all these ports, and then to be honest, this is more for robot mode, and indeed we've got a blaster and another hand again for robot mode. But this is clever, this is genius, to be fair. What we've got here is, if you have a look here, see you've got these two tiny little tabs. This is the tab or the dowel which is going to fit into the bottom of the stand like so. But what we need to do, if you want to display it in alternate mode, which it does look really good, you've got to carefully, very carefully, just separate this part here. You've got these cutouts here, and then what you can do is you can line this up. It'll slot into position like so, and then it's nice and secure like so. Then of course you can just attach this here, and look, you can tilt this up and down as well on the stand. It's so good. It is so clever. It's brilliant, to be fair. All right, I'm going to keep the other one, well, the original one in the background, to be honest, just for now. And let's bring in some of the other comparisons. So again, so we've got the other comic book one. This is, of course, Newage David. I think I forgot to mention this is the comic book one at the beginning, funnily enough. And that's exactly why you've got the comic picture there. There is just a standard Agamemnon. There we've got the Iron Factory, Mirage or Phantom. And, of course, we've got the Magic Square Trailbreaker popping out the side. Let me just move these out of the way for now. If just for anybody who collects normal, standard release Hasbro figures, core class Grimlock, Studio Series Bumblebee, Generation 1 Hot Rod, and then funnily enough, let's have a look at one of the newest figures that's out there right now. There is a Voyager class Rise of the Beasts Optimus Prime. So he is nice and small. And just one final little comparison, and that's purely because he is a Shockwave toy. There's a Just Toys World's Smallest in the toy deco. Right, there's not really much more to, well, there's definitely no more comparisons. I suppose I need to show you him in a bit more detail. That's what I need to do before we go back to him being in his robot mode and do the other comparisons. So if you just move these out of the way, let's take this stand up. I'm just going to leave that there for now. So if I wanted to be negative, if you haven't got this stand bit, that obviously there is a hole. But to be fair, you do need the stand because it won't balance by itself. So that's why they plug the gap with that brilliantly. You've got the lovely translucent underneath. Everything's sort of tucked away quite neatly, to be honest. It really is, as I say, nice and clever. You can tell a few things, obviously, as you can with pretty much all Transformers. But yeah, look, see this little bits that fold out there to cover the gap. it's a nice little, it is a brilliant little alternate mode, and it just, as I say, works. I really like the comic deco on him. I think it just makes him look metallic-y, all shiny, and it just, as I say, just seems to really work. Right, that is definitely, I think, all there is to show you in this particular alternate mode. Let's come back with him in robot to do some more comparisons and see how I'm going to be displaying him. Right then, back for the final time with him in his robot mode, and that is, of course, how I am going to be displaying him. So I'm just going to attach the hose again. I did take it off. You don't need to for transformation, but I just wanted to again show you, if you wanted to take it and maybe not ever transform it, you can still attach it very simply via there on the back, and indeed straight under on the back of his forearm, like so as well. So that's how you could attach it, no issues whatsoever. And there again, he looks even more like a normal, or a generation 1 shockwave, shall we say. Right, we can go back to the stand, and then what we've got here again, we've got this, which is like a bit of a flight stand. So yeah, I tend to use these more for seekers, to be honest. But what we've got here, we can bring this around and see at the back there, see you've got a port. This will slot straight in there. Oh, it's because it's brand new, obviously. Nice and careful. That fits in, super secure. So it's up to you how you want to, I suppose, display him. Now you can twist him around, you can turn it around there, bring it out. There's loads of different ways that you can display him, but obviously make sure that it's centralized, otherwise it'll tip over. You can't even see that there, but you can see just, I suppose, how much range of motion and I suppose posability that you have got with this. It is huge. I'm going to take it off there for now because I just want to do a few more things with him, and then of course bring in some of the other figures for that comparison again. So there's the stand, and as I say, there's like your flight part. This all moves as well. We don't need that. That of course was the bit for when he's in alternate mode. And then the brilliant thing is we've got a little shockwave gun, so he can carry himself, which is brilliant. And we've just got another hand out. There's only articulation, is there? I think no, it's only just going to spin around. So what I'll do is I'll just take the whole hand there out, and that'll pop in there as well. So there you go. That's the accessories that you can use. He doesn't come with an abundance like a lot of the Newage figures do, but to be honest, he doesn't need it. He really just doesn't need to come with loads. So what he's got is more than enough. And again, you've got the beautiful way that you can display in either mode. Right, I'm going to, I think, I'm just wondering, I suppose you could, if you really wanted to, could you attach that there? As I say, I don't know why, that's just came to my head, but if you wanted to have everything in his hands, in his person, or on him without having to have a storage box, you could do that while he's on display, because that isn't even noticeable. I can't imagine anybody doing it, but you never know. Some people like to do that. I definitely did with my old displays. I used to hate going back, finding the boxes and the bits that I needed. Right, let's do some all-important comparisons then. So here we go. This is the Combiner Wars Legends Shockwave. This is a more recent legacy one. I do have the Bumblebee one, but because obviously this is based on this generation 1, I thought we'd just go for that. So I'm going to attempt to bring this guy in again at the back. Massive, massive figure. The original one is fantastic, and as I said, I've probably got a few more, but we don't need to do an absolute full abundance of comparisons. I think only the ones that people want to see or who may be intrigued about. So as I say, so that was the Core Class Standard. There's Core Class Moving. There's Deluxe Studio Series, but quite a small one. Again, I'll bring in Voyager Class Optimus just to give you an idea of size. And I suppose instead of Hot Rod, I can bring down Starscream this time for people who collect G1. There you go. Right, so last couple of comparisons then, and it of course is going to be with the other Newage figures and indeed the magic squares, etc. So let's just bring this video to a close by doing the other companies first and foremost. There we go again, Iron Factory and Magic Square. Oh, I thought his head had come off there, but it hasn't. It was just the way the light was reflecting. And now, of course, more importantly, he's going to stay in robot mode. And to be honest, I'm definitely going to have to hunt now for a comic book version of Agamemnon, because he just looks dull and boring. but they all scale and look very well together. I'm sure you'll agree. I really don't think there's much more to say about this guy. For a Legends figure, I think I've talked about him for nearly, well, over 15 minutes. He is spectacular. I do like this comic book colour scheme on him. I really do. Same as with David. And yeah, just a great figure. Let me know what you think in the comments. Oh, one very quick, tiny little one again. I keep forgetting about him because he's so small. Let me know what you think of him in the comments, and indeed any of the figures that you think that I should be getting or looking at getting next. And of course, again, if I get anything wrong, please don't hold back. Let me know. In the meantime, guys, take care.